Welcome back to the Tipsy Tailgate. I'm your host, Aiden L. Grobley.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Jake.
And tonight we have a special episode for you guys. We have the first ever Tipsy Tailgate mock draft, our NFL mock draft 1.0 for obviously the 2021 draft, coming up in April, I believe. We're very excited about it. But first, let's touch on J.J. Watt. He goes and he signs and surprises everyone and signs with the Arizona Cardinals. Ton of money. I think it was 2 years, 31 million.
23 mil guaranteed.
Yep, exactly. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the fit. It's great to see him and Chandler Jones together. I think that's going to be a lethal duo. To me, that's the most competitive division in football. It was before the signing, but even more so after. So many superstars, so many great players. I'm excited for the Cardinals, but with this signing, I think now it's time for Kyler to take that step. It's time for him to step up, be that franchise guy. He has all the talent now on both sides of the ball, so it's up to him to take this team where it needs to go.
Yeah, the Cardinals were one of the teams that nobody was really expecting J.J. Watt to go to, made a big splash. I think if he was ring chasing, I don't know if the Cardinals was the best team for him to go to, but we'll see how it pans out.
And interesting to see what's Russell Wilson thinking right now.
Yeah.
He already had a terrible division to be in if you're a quarterback, and now he's got J.J. Watt there. So interesting to see. But without further ado, let's get into the mock draft. We were really excited about this. I think the best course of action is we'll each go over our first pick, and then we'll explain why, and then we'll move on to the next one collectively. So let me start off. Number one, no surprise here. Jags take Trevor Lawrence. He's the reason why Urban Meyer came back to the NFL. He is an Elway and Luck type of prospect. All that confusion about him and maybe Zach Wilson getting closer and closer was just, that's a smokescreen. It's not even close. Trevor Lawrence is the guy.
It's just to get people to watch the draft.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Exactly. So,
I agree with you, obviously. The best prospect since John Elway, I would say. I think he was a little bit better of a prospect than Andrew Luck.
yeah, I'd say that.
It's not really up for debate. What do you think, Jake?
I don't think there's going to be any surprise. I mean, we're all in agreement. Everybody's mostly in agreement, so, yeah, it's your number one pick.
All right, number two. This is where it gets heated. I have the Jets. I'm still on the Justin Fields train. I don't think Zach Wilson has done enough yet. Obviously, pro days still has to happen. A lot of stuff still has to happen. There's no combine this year, but there might be some stuff before the draft that switches around some people's stock. But Justin Fields, I still have him going. I have him going to the Jets. He played at Ohio State. He led this team over in huge wins. Yes, he didn't really have the college career that people would anticipate from him as high of a prospect he was coming out of high school. And if you watch QB1 on Netflix, you would have known that. I watched that. He looked like he was the next prodigy. And not that he's not, but he hasn't really fully hit his potential. And I think partly it's due to Ohio State. I don't know if that system was best for him. That's why I think he might take a huge step in the NFL. I think the talent is through the roof. So I still have the Jets taking him number two.
If I were the Jets, I would go with your pick. I would go with Justin Fields. However, I believe that the Jets are going to go with Zach Wilson from BYU. I think Zach Wilson's a very good quarterback. You hear that the Jets like him. They're into his game. But I feel that Justin Fields is a little bit better of a quarterback and has a higher ceiling, but I think the Jets are going to go with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Zach Wilson. I am a Jets fan. I'm a bigger Justin Fields fan than a Zach Wilson fan. But ultimately, I've been hearing things about Zach Wilson. His resume has just been through the roof now. He threw 3 interceptions last year. Your new offensive coordinator, LaFleur, apparently loves him, so I think this is going to be the guy for the Jets.
Yeah, and I could definitely see it going that way also. A lot of the chatter now is around Zach Wilson, and it's positive. 3, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do a little bit of wild card. I'm going to say Penei Sewell. They grab the left tackle out of Oregon. I think you need 10 to 15 years of a blind side protector, as good as he will be, is something that you need to get. I understand that they need weapons and that there's guys like Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, all those guys. But I think the Tua's uncertainty is just too much right now. There's a lot that can happen if they go out there and trade for Deshaun Watson, or if they go out there and get a receiver in the draft or in free agency. That a lot can change. So I think as of right now, it's too much to speculate. Penei Sewell, though, I think is that pick that you don't have to speculate on. He's going to hit no matter what.
I think that Penei Sewell will be a great pick. However, I went with Devonta Smith, the wide receiver. I think that he's a little bit better than Jamar Chase as a pure player. I think that would be a great fit with Tua. I think Tua needs a big-time receiver, a big target, a legit number one guy to truly see what he's made of.
Yeah.
I have a different Alabama wide receiver going. I have Jalen Waddle. I think when fully healthy, Jalen Waddle is a better receiver than Devonta Smith. Plus, I think his body's more NFL ready. People are always going to question Devonta Smith's body, and he backed it up with his stats last year, but the NFL is just a different caliber of physicality when it comes down to it, and I think Jalen Waddle's better prepared for it.
With that being said, though, I think that you can see a change in the league where those not as big guys, those smaller guys are still just as effective, if not even more effective than those big guys.
Yeah, but when you look at small, speedy guys now, like Tyreek Hill is not
he's big.
A twig. Yeah,
he's like 6% body fat. That man is.
I would compare him to Calvin Ridley, another guy out of Alabama.
Yeah.
But even Calvin Ridley still has 2 inches on him and 20 pounds on him. So there's not.
Yeah. A lot of it comes down to, can you get off the line, or are you going to get dominated by cornerbacks that could just bully you? All right, pick number 4, Atlanta Falcons. I have them taking Trey Lance, number 4. My reasoning for this is I think there's a lot of similarities with Trey Lance and Patrick Mahomes. I think when the draft gets closer, there's going to be a lot of discussions where teams and executives are very high on Trey Lance and kind of think that he's a little raw, but with a year sitting behind, a year and a half, he could be that Mahomes type of impact with that arm of his and limited playing time in his senior year. He only got 1 game in. But I think he'll definitely get that hype late, and I think it's a perfect fit. You go to Atlanta, and you have great receivers already. Obviously, who knows if Julio's still going to be there, but you get to sit a year or possibly 2 years behind Matt Ryan, whatever you need, and then you step in, and I think Trey Lance is the guy who will step in and be that Mahomes-type guy for a franchise like Atlanta.
I went with a different quarterback. I went with Justin Fields. I think Matt Ryan's time in Atlanta is up. I still think he has good football left to be played, but I think that the Falcons have to start over.
I agree with that.
And I think Justin Fields will be a good guy to start over with.
We're very similar to that. I also have Justin Fields. Grew up in Georgia, played football there.
Yep.
Why not come back home? I look at him, and you look at their new coach, Arthur Smith. He's worked with guys like Ryan Tannehill, tough, big, physical quarterbacks that also can sit in the pocket and throw the ball if they need to. Mm-hmm. I feel like Justin Fields would be a great fit in an Arthur Smith type of offense.
I agree.
I agree with that pick. I like that pick too. Here at 5, obviously with the Dolphins, I have the Dolphins taking Sewell at 3. So I'm going to give the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they grab Rashawn Slater, the tackle. I think they flirt with the opportunity of giving Joe Burrow Jamar Chase. Mm-hmm. Obviously his LSU teammate. But they have the 38th pick overall in a deep receiver draft, and I believe a ton of cap to work with guys possibly A-Rob, sign and trade for or tag and trade for Galladay, Godwin, Marvin Jones, United. There's a lot they could work with. I think they grab Rashawn Slater, protect Burrow after that knee injury. You got to do it. He's your franchise guy.
And since I didn't have Penei Sewell already taken, I took him here with the Bengals pick at 5. Obviously, a terrible injury to Joe Burrow. You have to protect your franchise quarterback. Yeah. And the Bengals are starting from scratch, and what you need is a quarterback, someone to protect the quarterback, and someone to get their quarterback. So they have their quarterback, and they need someone to protect theirs. And I think Sewell will be a perfect fit.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're on the same page here again. It's a young O-line. But if they all work together, it's going to be a very good O-line for a long time. They just need that one key guy. You look at the Colts, what Quentin Nelson did for that O-line. I feel like Penei Sewell can have that same type of impact.
Yep. Number 6 here, I got the Eagles taking Jamar Chase. No-brainer. He's, I think, the best receiver in the draft. I also agree with what Jake said before, how Jalen Waddle could definitely be the number 1 guy, or at least the number 2 guy ahead of Devonta Smith. I think all 3 of them are going to be very good receivers. It's just whether or not Devonta Smith can work with his small body. But yeah, I think Jamar Chase is a clear number 1 guy, and I'm going to have the Eagles taking him 6.
Aiden, I agree with you. I also have Jamar Chase going to the Eagles. They just need talent on the offense.
Yeah.
They basically have nothing at the skill position, and I think that Jalen Hurts can be a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that he just needs to be in the right situation, and they need to get him a big receiver like Jamar Chase.
Yeah, perfect.
So I had 2 ideas with this pick, and one of them depended on, is Zach Ertz getting traded? Because if he gets traded, you immediately look at a guy like Kyle Pitts, who could be a do-all-everything type of tight end. But as of right now, Zach Ertz has not been traded, so we got a clean sweep of Jamar Chase. The only reason why I didn't like Devonta Smith for this pick was because look at the guy you drafted last year in Jalen Reagor. You're basically getting a better Jalen Reagor. Yeah, so you need to differentiate in your wide receiver.
And you also have, I think Ertz is as good as gone in Philly, but you still have Dallas Goedert there, who actually showed that he could be right at the level as Ertz. Yeah. So, but I agree, a receiver is definitely the move here. 7 here. I actually have a trade proposal. I think that it's the Detroit Lions picking 7th. I think that they're going to stick with Goff for the year, and they have no rush at getting a quarterback. They're not going to be good for another 3-4 years at least.
Goff is a perfect bridge
for now. Exactly.
From one stage to the next.
Exactly. So that's why I think at 7, I think either the Panthers or the Broncos are going to do a 1 or 2 spot trade up. Or even the Patriots potentially, to try to grab Zach Wilson. For the sake of this, I'm going to have the Panthers trading up with the Lions, to grab Zach Wilson. I think that the Lions, if you're the Panthers, you have to look at it. Yes, it's one spot up, but also say the Broncos go up and they trade up 2 spots ahead of you, and because you thought Zach Wilson was going to fall into your lap, and now all of a sudden the Broncos have Zach Wilson for 10, 15 years, and he's a great quarterback, and it's all because you didn't trade up 1 spot. So that's always in executives' heads. They don't want to kind of be weak and not force their way up. So I think the Panthers they trade up with the Lions, 1 pick up and down, and I think the Panthers grab Zach Wilson here.
I have the Lions staying where they are and taking Micah Parsons, the linebacker. I think it's exactly what they need. The defense is not very good at all. He's easily the best player at his position, and I think he's going to be a really good pro.
You know, I also have them going defense, but I have them going Kwity Paye from Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, you need an edge present. Yeah. And, I think he's just going to add a lot to that defense, who really needs it. You know, you look at your last draft pick, Jeff Okudah. Too early to tell if he's going to be what he, was destined to be. Yeah. Last year didn't really show that, but add another young guy in there and develop something.
Yeah, and I agree with what you guys are saying. I have 8th. Obviously, the Lions now have traded down 1 pick. I have the Lions taking Micah Parsons 8. I think Micah Parsons is a beast, very versatile, very athletic. He's a guy that they could work with in defense. Yeah, and he could be a staple in that defense for years to come. So that's what I have.
For Houston, I have my first. I'm not Houston, Carolina. I have my first trade. They're going to make a trade with Houston for Deshaun Watson.
Okay, I could see that too.
I think that Houston will put together a package such as 8th overall pick, a couple first round picks over the next few years, and Teddy Bridgewater for Deshaun Watson. And I think with the pick, Houston will take Trey Lance. I think he's the kind of guy that all GMs and coaches fall in love with around the draft time, the combine. Just so much raw talent, and every coach thinks that they can turn a player into a superstar. And I think that a lot of coaches think that Trey Lance has superstar written all over him.
Yeah, I agree.
So, as much as I don't want to agree with that Houston trade, it wasn't in my head. It really wasn't in my head. But now I'm really liking what you just proposed there. So I'm going to do the same thing that you did. Sorry. But with this Houston pick now, I'm going to have them taking Micah Parsons. You look at Houston's 2 linebackers. You have Zach Cunningham, who you just re-signed. He's getting paid almost $14 million a year. But you also have Bernard McKinney, who was a Pro Bowl talent, but he's old, making close to $10 million a year. You also have Whitney Mercilus, whatever it is, who's ahead of 30. on the tail end of his career who I think they're going to trade out of there. So I think you need that other linebacker because when the Texans were really good, it was their defense controlling the team.
Yeah, and it's a defense that definitely needs improvement.
Yes.
For sure.
So, I think Michael Parsons is a great guy to get into that system and really build a new defensive culture in there.
Yeah. So ninth pick number 9. I have the Denver Broncos going with Patrick Surtain the second. I am not buying the hype that Caleb Farley is number 1. I don't know how people are seeing that. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that go into it, but Surtain was a beast. And sorry he doesn't have the stats that everyone wants to see. It's because nobody was passing it his way.
It's true.
So I got the Broncos taking Surtain at 9.
You're not going to like this at all.
Oh, boy.
I have the Denver Broncos taking Caleb Farley. In my opinion, he was the best cornerback in football. You may disagree, but I think it's a clear need for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
When they've won, they've always had a great defense.
Corner especially.
A little bit of a change. Elway moving a little bit. So, if he was in charge of the draft, I would say they might take a quarterback, as he loves to do. But I think they will take Caleb Farley.
Yeah.
None of you guys think the Broncos are taking a quarterback?
I think they're going to stick with Lock one year. I mean, they lost Cortland Sutton. They had.
I think they would.
They had injuries.
I think they would if at
Judy's
this point
young.
the top 4 quarterbacks were available, but I don't think they will be.
So I still have Trey Lance. I mean, not Trey Lance.
Kyle Trask?
Zach Wilson.
You still have Zach Wilson on the board. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that the Broncos are going to take Zach Wilson here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you brought in your first and your second round draft picks last year were both receivers for the Broncos. Might as well pair them with a kid who's close to Colorado. Sort of playing in his own element that he's been in for the past 4 years. Bring the kid home.
Okay.
I would agree with that if I didn't already have Zach Wilson off the board.
Then I'm going to give number 10, Cowboys. Like I said, Caleb Farley's very good corner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's number 1, but I think he's number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys take Caleb Farley at number 10.
I think the Cowboys are the kind of team that always goes for the superstar, never really for the need, and I think they either need defense or to fortify their own line a little bit, but I think they will forgo that for Kyle Pitts. Jerry loves to draft the flashy offensive guy. I think he wants to see all the weapons with Dak, and I think they will go with Kyle Pitts.
I think with because Michael Gallup is a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think might as well replace him with another receiver and just go Devonta Smith here. I think if he falls into the Cowboys' lap, you pair him up with CD and Amari Cooper, and immediately your wide receiver core is just as good as it was last year.
Probably a little better.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 11 here, the New York Giants. I got them taking Devonta Smith. I think it's hard to pass on Kyle Pitts here, but the fact that they have Evan Ingram, I think they say, all right, we'll give him one last
more shot.
Prove it. Yeah, prove it to me, please.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pan out, then we'll look elsewhere. But I think Devonta Smith here is a great pick for the Giants. Give Danny Dimes another option. I really liked their weapons and kind of how this offense was built, especially when Saquon went down. Wayne Gallman stepped in great, had a bunch of really good games, and they have talented receivers. It's just nothing really pans out, and there's no superstar. There's not one that stands up outside of the bunch, as OBJ did, for example. So I think Devonta Smith does that. They get Devonta Smith at 11.
I'm sick of Saquon Barkley not having any holes to run through. I'm sick of him always being hurt. So I hope that the New York Giants will take Rashawn Slater here. They need to beef up that O-line. It's been terrible for years. They've always tried, to their credit, but always failed. So I hope that they take Rashawn Slater here.
Okay.
I think Evan Ingram's on his way out from the Giants.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking for a new contract next year. Might as well go get who I think is the best athlete in this draft.
Definitely.
I
Just go
agree
and
with
get Kyle
that.
Pitts.
I agree.
Such a beast. Oh.
Daniel Jones needs some sort of help. Might as well just get him somebody who, you throw Kyle Pitts a pass that he can catch, and he's coming down with it every single time.
Yeah, for sure.
So just help Danny out.
Good pick. Pick number 12 here. I got the San Francisco 49ers. I got them taking J.C. Horn. I think he's a third cornerback. This is more of a need fit. Yes, I think it's a little bit of a reach, but it's a need fit. Richard Sherman and Jason Verrett are both free agents in March, so this month. Now, you gotta fit it. I'm pretty sure Richard Sherman has said he's going elsewhere. Not sure about Verrett, but you gotta fit that need. You gotta keep that defense solid.
Kyle Shanahan, offensive-minded coach. Jimmy Garoppolo needs another weapon. I think they take Jalen Waddle. I think he's a great receiver.
I really like that fit,
I think he would be
too.
a great fit. I think the offense would be flying with Jimmy G healthy, of course.
Yeah.
I think they could be a real threat in the NFC West with Jalen Waddle.
So I think with Richard Sherman on his way out, because he already said he won't be a 49er next year. I don't have him off my board yet, so I think Patrick Surtain is going to be.
You good?
I think Patrick Surtain is going to be the guy to fill Richard Sherman's shoes and really cement himself as a top corner in the league, because I think he has the ability to be one.
Yeah, definitely. 13 here, I got the Chargers taking Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle. You got to protect Justin Herbert. He is going to be your franchise guy for the foreseeable future. I think Waddle and Pitts are very interesting, especially if Hunter Henry, and I think he said he's most likely leaving, especially if Hunter Henry leaves. It's hard to pass up on Waddle and or Pitts, but you got to look at it. Your quarterback's still young. You could always get weapons, but an offensive lineman that's going to protect your quarterback, that's priority right now, and I think that's what they go.
I also had Christian Darrisaw going here. I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's exactly what they need. They have Herbert. They just need to have the pieces fall into place for him and let him go.
And they already have the weapons that around them, too.
They have the weapons. They just need the protection.
Yeah, if you lose Henry, that hurts a little bit, but you definitely have weapons.
I 100% agree with you guys. I think if you're the Chargers, you go best O-lineman available, especially offensive tackle if he's available. So, yeah, good pick.
All right, number 14, the Minnesota Vikings. I think they take Kwity Paye, edge rusher. He is, I think most experts believe he's the best pass rusher in this draft. I think you got to get him. You need pass rush. The Vikings lacked that all year. I think he's a really good fit on this defense.
I also had Kwity Paye. The Vikings need to improve their defense a little bit, their pass rush. Whenever they've been good, I feel like that's what they've built on in the past.
Yep.
The Vikings are also kind of in a middle area, kind of 500 team, not really a threat, but I think that it's a good fit.
Always helps to get a pass rush.
For the Vikings, I have them taking Caleb Farley here, or Farley. I think, you've had Xavier Rose in his prime. Obviously he was on the Colts last year, and they have a very, very young secondary and a secondary that hasn't really produced. And, Harrison Smith is above 30. He's going to be on his way out pretty soon. You need that guy that's going to fill in and really, cement the Vikings secondary.
Yeah. All right, pick 15. This is where I make my favorite pick of the draft, the New England Patriots. I have them taking Kyle Pitts. As we talked about, I think Kyle Pitts is one of the best players in this draft on pure physicality and football. This man can ball. He is so good. He could even play receiver, honestly, if you want him to. I think he gets a lot of similarities to how Aaron Hernandez played the game, also from Florida too. And I think that's a guy. RIP. Well, who knows? That's a guy that Kyle Pitts is a guy that'll go in that offense and immediately make a difference for a team that has probably the least tight end production in the league, the Patriots. So.
This pains me to say, but I think that the New England Patriots are going to go with Mac Jones. I don't want them to. I really, really don't want them to, but I think they're kind of backed up into a corner. I wish they would take Kyle Trask over him, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, I am a firm believer that Kyle Trask is better than Mac Jones.
I am too.
If it came down to it and both were available, I think they're going Mac Jones. But in my draft, I don't have Trey Lance off the board, and I think Bill Belichick, as much as he didn't like what he saw from Cam Newton, I think he did like what he saw, and I think Josh McDaniels, because Cam wasn't at his full potential. So I think if you get a guy that is just super physical, will run, Trey Lance had 42 total touchdowns his last season and 0 interceptions. You get a guy like that on your team, he could be a game changer.
Yeah.
I hope that happens.
Yeah, hopefully. At 16, the Arizona Cardinals. So I actually made my mock draft a couple hours before they signed J.J. Watt. So I had them taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the linebacker, but I switched up on that, and now I have them taking Jalen Waddle. I think, I'm not proud of this Jalen Waddle slide. I love Jalen Waddle, but it had to happen. I think teams needed to fill their needs, and that's been done so far. But I think the Cardinals, now that they have J.J. Watt, they go and grab a receiver, help out that offense. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury loves the playmakers, and Waddle is exactly that.
The Arizona Cardinals, I have them taking Patrick Surtain. Pat
Yeah,
Peterson,
yeah.
aging. They need some help in the secondary. I think that'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I have him taking Wyatt Davis. You look at a guy like Justin Pugh. I think he might be on his way out if you draft a lineman that could potentially fill his role, or you just throw Wyatt Davis on the other side, and that line immediately becomes that much better. Their receiving core, they're not. I mean, they are very good because of DeAndre Hopkins. But you look at your 2 and 3 options. They're not great, but they'll get the job done.
Especially when you have DeAndre Hopkins with them.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? Might as well just let Kyler, do his thing in the pocket, find his receivers, and no better way to do that than by drafting an interior lineman.
Good. All right, 17. I have the Raiders taking Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher. He is a beast at pass rushing, and it's exactly what the Raiders need. They have Max Crosby and they have Clelin Ferrell, but they haven't really still made much of an impact to put this defense over the edge in terms of getting sacks and rushing the quarterback and getting pressures. So I think they go here and they grab Rousseau.
I also have the Raiders taking Rousseau. I also think it's exactly what they need. Their defense was a little suspect at times. Their offense, I think, is good enough. I think it's good to go. I think that their offense is not the problem. I think their defense is what is keeping them out of the playoff picture.
Yeah. So I also have them going defense, but I think Max Crosby's a guy that when he played a full season, his rookie year, he had a phenomenal rookie year. Clelin Ferrell, hasn't really shown that he's the 4th overall pick, but I haven't taken an interior D lineman here, and I haven't taken Christian Barrymore. I think having help, from a guy who was a beast in college. It takes away some of the stress from Clelin Ferrell, and he can, I think, with his full potential being unlocked, it's going to come from an interior D lineman.
Yeah, I agree. And also with this news, the Vikings just released Kyle Rudolph. So obviously they're picking one pick ahead of the Patriots at 14.
So maybe they take
Kyle Pitts. That would be interesting. I don't want to see that though if I'm a Patriot fan. So in pick number 18, the Dolphins take their second pick of the draft, and I had them going Jalen Waddle. Then the J.J. Watt news happened. Had to switch it up. I have them now taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the linebacker. They also just today, cut Kyle Van Noy off of 1 year into his, I think, 4-year contract. So they definitely need to replace him. Owusu-Koramoah is the guy they take.
I have the Dolphins taking Wyatt Davis. I think that they need to shore up their O-line a bit for Tua, protect him, obviously some injury history, and just, give him a little more confidence with a better O-line.
Yeah.
I think they're keeping, what's his name? Oh, Gregory Rousseau. I think they're keeping him in Florida. Kyle Van Noy could rush a passer as a linebacker. I think they're going to miss that edge rusher type player. Keep the kid in Miami.
And a little bit of breaking news. Jets just released Henry Anderson. Frees them $8.2 million in cap space.
To sign Kyle Rudolph, Deshaun Watson.
Everyone. Yeah. Every receiver available.
Thank you, Henry Anderson, for your service.
Well, they do need them.
They do need them. I also believe, I think it's worth mentioning, I do believe that the Miami Dolphins will go ahead and sign Aaron Jones in free agency. I already heard that they're linked. I do think that unless they can grab a receiver in the second round, potentially maybe some guys that might drop to him could be Rashad Bateman or Terrence Marshall from LSU. But if none of them drop, then I think that they could also make a splash signing at receiver. They do need a receiver badly. Number 19, I have the Washington football team going ahead and grabbing Mac Jones. I think that offensive tackle is very intriguing here, but they just got rid of Alex Smith, as I think a lot of people expected, or at least I did. And you need a receiver. I mean, you need a quarterback. You're not going to play without a quarterback. I think they go ahead and grab Mac Jones.
I actually had the Washington football team drafting Kyle Trask. I think Kyle Trask is a very good quarterback. I think getting drafted to a place with Ron Rivera and a great defense isn't a bad spot at all. I think that's a very good support system, and I think he could find success there.
Yeah.
I also have been taking Kyle Trask. I'm just, like I said before, on the Kyle Trask boat ahead of the Mac Jones boat. I think Kyle Trask was not blessed with a good defense in college. He was blessed with a head coach that apparently can make any quarterback into a Heisman finalist. I think that's good, but I also think Ron Rivera has a built-up resume of helping quarterbacks out as well.
All right, pick number 20. I have the Bears taking Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle. He's a beast, and you can't go wrong here. That's a great value pick. That's what I wrote down, a value pick. Getting him here is great. You got to protect your quarterback, whoever that might be. Maybe Watson. Let's see. But yeah, I haven't taken Cosmi here.
I had the Chicago Bears taking Travis Etienne. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he's a very good running back.
Beast.
Yep. I think the Bears need some talent on offense, maybe a little bit of juice to get going.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Bears, whenever they've won, again, they've always had a great running back. So I feel like teams always have to go back to what's made them great before. I think the Bears need a great defense and a great run game to find success.
So I also have the Bears taking a running back, but I haven't taken Najee Harris. And I have them taking Najee Harris because I believe that in the open field, when you look at probably the best Bears running back in the past 10 years, you're thinking of, I just blanked on his name, Matt Forte.
Yeah, Matt Forte.
I think Najee Harris is a runner just like Matt Forte was, and I think he can do great things for the Bears.
All right, pick number 21, the newly added Carson Wentz team, the Indianapolis Colts. I think they go ahead and they grab Elijah Vera Tucker. He is an inside offensive lineman, but he can move to tackle, I heard. And Costanza is
just
gone.
Retired.
Exactly. So you got to replace that, and you got to keep O-line. They built them up, and they became a pretty good team with a good O-line. And now that pieces are slowly falling away, you got to keep it strong. So I think this is the perfect pick for them.
I almost went with an O-lineman for the Colts, but to me, the bigger need is the receiving core.
Yep. So
I went with Rashad Bateman. I think he's a great receiver. I think it's a great fit. I think he's exactly the kind of guy that would work with Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
I think it's just a great fit overall.
Yeah, I also had Rashad Bateman, a guy who's 6'2", 210. You look at that. Michael Pittman's also a bigger receiver. And then you have Zach Pascal, who I think they're going to re-sign. He's a free agent, but I do believe they'll re-sign. So you pair two big guys up with Zach Pascal, and I think, that gives Carson Wentz a good receiving core.
Yeah, and I also saw Bateman picked up. I think he put on a bunch of muscle so far, and he looks really good. 22 here, I have the Titans taking Azeez Ojulari, edge. He is a pass rusher, and the Titans need a pass rusher almost more than anyone else in the league. They got pretty much no pass rush last year, and this will be the perfect pick to fix that.
For 22, I have the Titans taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good fit with Vrabel. I think that they have a very good defense, but he can add to it and make it better. I think they're a serious threat in the AFC.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to say, sorry about pronunciation. A little tough names. Give us a break here. But we just want to put that out there.
I have a guy that stuck out at the Senior Bowl. Zaven Collins from Tulsa, obviously it's Tulsa, so you're not playing Power 5 football. But to be a first rounder coming from Tulsa, you got to be ridiculously good against the competition you're playing. So I think that's really going to help. I think David Long, they're going to lose him. Just add another young guy to that deep linebacking core, and it just makes the defense that much better.
I agree. Pick 23, Jets are up again, second pick. I think they go ahead and they grab Travis Etienne. I like Travis Etienne a lot. I think he is going to be an immediate factor, X factor, if you will, for some other teams, for the Jets at least. And this is an offense that needs him. They need playmaking, and they need a running back for sure. They just grabbed who'd they grab last year, receiver?
Denzel Mims.
Yeah, Denzel Mims. He showed that he could be a good receiver near the end when he got that opportunity. So I don't think they grab receiver. I think they go running back here in the first round.
For the Jets, I went with Christian Barrymore, D lineman. I think it's a good fit. They have a very good young defense, obviously a defensive head coach in Saleh. And, I think they can add to a very good young defense.
Yeah, so I think if they don't sign a running back, I also have them taking ETN. But if they sign a running back, I think they could take a guy like Marlon Mack or not necessarily a guy that's going to take on a full load, but you have LaMichael Pirine, who when he played last year, he didn't play terribly, so I think they're going to give him a bigger role this year. If they don't sign a tight end, though, I would look out for Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. Yeah. Didn't have an amazing year this year, but had an amazing year the year before, and really showed that he's just a beast when he has the ball in his hands. And the Jets need a playmaker. I think, Pat Freiermuth as a tight end is better than any receiver you have left. So that's why I haven't taken him.
All right, 24. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Najee Harris. They just came out today and said James Conner will not be returning, and this is a running squad or running back depth chart that needs a rehaul. They had virtually no running game last year. Behind an O-line that's really not bad. Obviously, there's issues that come up in a shortened season like this, but it's a offensive line that's always been really good, and for it to take this much of a step back, obviously injuries to James Conner, but I think Najee Harris here is a great pick, and this is the splash they need.
For the Steelers, I went with Levi Onwuzurike, D lineman. He's very good. I think it'd be a great fit. Cam Hayward aging a little bit. They need to reinforce there.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers can still be competitive with a really good defense. I think their offense can make enough plays to win some games, but I could really see that happening.
Yeah, I have him going secondary here. I think Joe Hayden is on his way to retirement. They need a guy who can be mentored by him, and I think they're going to go Jace Horn here out of South Carolina. A guy who not many people expected to be a first-round talent. He's either going to go late first or early second, but I think he cemented himself as the either third or fourth best corner in this draft.
Okay, yeah, I could see that too. I have the Jags at 25 taking Christian Barmore. He could be a tackle, big interior defensive lineman, and they had, I think, maybe the worst or top 5, definitely worst running game or defensive run games.
They were the worst at everything last year.
Probably, yeah. This is a team that needs to stop the run, and you're never going to be good if you can't stop the run. This is a good pick for them.
For the Jaguars, I have them going with an O-lineman. I have them taking Trey Smith. I think they need to fortify that O-line for Lawrence. He just had surgery. Yeah. So, you don't want him coming in and getting battered like Luck. So I think they need to build up that O-line.
Yeah, I'm also on the O-line. I have them taking Samuel Cosme here. Just same reasons as Ben. You need to protect Trevor Lawrence. That comes first. Give him weapons second. I mean, your receivers are already there technically in Jacksonville. They could be better, but it's not as worse as other guys' situations.
It's much easier for a quarterback to fix receivers than it is his protection.
Yeah, absolutely. So give him time, and Trevor Lawrence is going to be very good.
Yeah, so here for the Browns at 26, I have 2 options. I think Zaven Collins, a linebacker, very versatile. He's a really good linebacker, and I think they could always use that. But I also believe that there's a shot they go and take Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher. I could see it going either way, but I'm going to give them Zaven Collins for the purpose of this.
I also went defense for the Browns. I think that they could use a little bit of help in the secondary. So I went with
definitely.
Javon Holland, safety. He's really good, obviously. That's why I picked him here. They needed to make some plays. Their defense in the playoffs that they just couldn't make, and I think that he could be a real good playmaker.
Yeah.
Also, I did have him taking a safety as well. I had him taking Hamson Israeldine from Florida State. A guy that sort of flew under the radar, but you look at his stats, and he had a very good year. The worst part about the Browns last year was Andrew Sendejo. Just forgot how to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a receiver ran a route past 20 yards, he just stopped covering them, and they were a very easy team to beat with the long ball. So get some young, fresh legs in there.
All right, 27, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's a potential option. They could trade back here. You see it a lot in the last kind of 5-10 picks in the first round that there are trade backs. But I think the Ravens go and they grab Trayvon Moehrig, safety out of TCU. He's a ball hawker, and they definitely need some reinforcement back there. I think he makes a good fit there.
Lamar Jackson, I think that he wants some weapons. I think he wants more receivers. I think he wants to air the ball out more.
I did just hear that they aren't signing a big superstar receiver. The Ravens, they are not signing a
so
big
maybe they go and draft Randall Moore.
So I can definitely see that. Yeah.
I think that Lamar is growing a little bit frustrated with the lack of throwing. Obviously, he's the most transcendent runner we've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I think that he needs to use his arm more for the Ravens to go where they want to go, and I think Randall Moore could be a big fix for that.
So I think if Rondale Moore is the only receiver left, I don't see them taking him just because you look at Marquise Brown, and you're basically just putting 2 Marquise Browns.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, on the same team. I have him going O-line here. I think I was looking at his tweets the other day, and Orlando Brown,
yeah.
He does not like that he's the second best tackle on that team. He wants to be playing left tackle.
Yep.
They have him at right tackle. So I think that they're going to take Deontay Brown from Alabama. He's a versatile guy. He can play inside and outside. Big guy. That's always going to help. And Lamar Jackson's going to need to be on his feet running around, protect him.
Definitely. Okay, 28, I have the Saints taking Jalen Phillips, edge rusher. He's very talented, but I also think that there's a chance he can go receiver here because nobody knows what's going on with the Michael Thomas situation, whether or not he's going to be there for the foreseeable future or not. So we'll see.
I didn't really know what to put here for the Saints. I don't really know what holes they're trying to fill. They're kind of in a...
They're in cap hell.
They're in cap hell. Drew Brees is probably going to retire. They're not in a good place. But I had them taking Joseph Oasi, linebacker. I just think that linebacker is a hole that they need to fill. They're aging on defense, and I think it could be a good fit.
You're good.
All right, so this is where I have Rondell Moore falling in. I think you pair him up with a big receiver like Michael Thomas, a guy who he can learn from, and I think he's going to be a very nice option. I think Jameis Winston is going to be their starting quarterback next year, and Jameis Winston is a gunslinger and a half. So give him a guy that's just going to run deep routes every time, and I think he'll do good things with him.
Okay, at 29, I have the Packers taking Tevin Jenkins, a little offensive tackle action. I also think that they can go Nick Bolton, linebacker, or Jalen Mayfield, also a tackle. But I think they go for Tevin Jenkins here.
I think that the Packers need help in the secondary, so I went with a safety, Hamza Nasiruladon.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
If you're watching, we're sorry about that.
You're probably not, but I apologize. You look back to that Bucs playoff game, 3 picks, but they also had 2 more drops, so they could make a little bit more plays on defense. It's something that Rodgers one of the many things that Rodgers has had a problem with because he's a baby. But besides that, I think that the Packers will go with the player in the secondary.
I think if they keep their linebacking core together, they're going to take somebody in the secondary. But you look at the cap hits of Zadarius Smith, who I think will stay. I think Preston Smith is a guy that's going to get cut just because, you have Rashawn Gary, too, in there, who he hasn't really played to his full potential, but I think he's going to get there.
I think he will,
yeah. So I think you're going to need to fill that linebacker hole, and that's why I have Joseph
Osa?
Oasi?
Oasi? Yeah, from Penn State.
No.
Oh, no. Who said?
The Texas.
Oh, Joseph Oasi, something like that.
Yeah. Good talent. Late
Tough names around here, right?
I had him going to the Saints.
Late first round guy. Guy who you could plug in if he pans out really well will be a nice fill-in player for Preston Smith.
We're pulling for you, Joseph.
Yes. Yeah.
Big fans. Pick 30, I have the Buffalo Bills taking Nick Bolton at linebacker. This is a team that has a lot of potential, and another talent on defense will always help.
To me, I have Najee Harris going to Buffalo, and I think that could be the most valuable pick in the draft this year. Josh Allen just can't be your leading rusher. He can't be the best at everything. You can only make him be the best quarterback. He can't also be the best running back. So I think that Najee Harris, I think that's a perfect fit. I think it's exactly what they need.
Yeah, it's true.
My bad. I have him taking Asante Samuel Jr. here.
I like that.
Huge fan of Asante.
Yeah.
Not Junior, but we'll give the Junior a chance here.
So, if he can be as flashy of a player as his dad was, you saw it, Stephon Diggs, a flashy player, skill guy on offense could do for, the whole city of Buffalo. Might as well throw a skill guy who can play special teams too, but, skill guy on defense who has the potential to be a lockdown corner who he did it in the ACC last year, so, I think it could translate well.
Chiefs at 31, I got them taking Rashad Bateman. I think he's one of the better receivers in the draft that's not really being looked upon as that. And I think the Chiefs can always use another receiver. It doesn't really – it's weird thinking about, the Chiefs need a receiver. But, because they don't really, but, what else do they need? And they could use it. So, a lot of people – I think it actually goes down as their biggest need or top 2 biggest needs. I think they go Bateman here, 31.
To me – I think that their defense needs some help. To me, that really kind of, other than health, kind of held them back.
Yeah.
So I went with Pat Jones II. Nothing wrong with another pass rusher. I think that could be exactly what they need.
Yeah, so I have him going Jackson Carman here. You look at the Super Bowl, their O-line was terrible.
Terrible.
You know, Patrick Mahomes ran 500 yards in the Super Bowl, just scrambling around. Throw somebody in there, fill a spot, and just make yourself a little bit better at least.
Yeah, and pick 32 to round it off, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shout out Tom Brady. They grabbed Jason away edge. Edge, I think, is their biggest need because they don't really know what's going on in that defense. A lot of older guys who will come back, who will retire, who will go off into the sunset. Who knows? But I think this is a good pick. I think he's a beast.
For the Bucks, you're gonna like this one. I went with Kyle Pitts.
Late.
I think that it would
be
a really good fit. Obviously, might not happen because he's a great player, but he could go underlooked, and I think that Tom Brady would do wonders with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have him going Patrick Jones the second here as well. God forbid they don't re-sign Shaq Barrett. That's going to be a huge hole for them to fill. You're going to need an edge guy to come in and step up.
Good. All right. Well, that wraps up our mock draft 1.0. I hope you guys liked it. Drop in the comments below if you have any debate it or any picks that you kind of disagreed with or did agree with. Let us know. Well, if you guys like it, we'll definitely come back with a 2.0 closer to the draft. But subscribe, like the video, share it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.